This is the first time I've been here, and I'm impressed.
These are the lectures which are giving you an idea about the future, where the whole trend is going, where we are moving.
Speakers can have high quality speech with really new information over there. So yes, it's interesting.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Hope everybody had a good networking lunch. Yesterday, we talked about big data and the challenges that small to mid-sized companies are encountering when they venture into big data analytics. Well, our next keynote speaker today is here to talk about big data as a sensible option for enterprises of all sizes. He says even small companies, they should have no problems with it either. Please help me welcome the Vice President of Marketing, IT Product Line at Huawei Technologies, Mr. Derek Liu.
Thanks for the Brent for introduction. Hi, I'm Derek Liu. I'm gonna here today talk about big data, and specifically about big data in enterprises. In the spirit of sharing, or talking about sharing economy, and it's been the concept that's been promoted by this conference, I'm gonna share from the company perspective our view on big data in enterprise, how it's gonna affect your enterprise, how it's going to affect the technology, and how it's going to evolve in the context of enterprise. And also, I'm going to share some of the experience we're building big data project for customers. And hopefully, going to get people here to think more, to maybe discuss more so we can exchange ideas. And as a whole industry, we're going to move the movement moving forward. Before I get started, I would like to get a quick introduction who we are. The company is called Huawei. It's a global company. It's rooted in China 20 years ago. But today is a pure, true global company. We hire more than 150,000 people all over the world. We actually derive 70%, more than 70% of revenue from outside of China. So it's a global company. And for people already know Huawei as the carrier network providers, we're actually moving strongly into two new directions. One is on the consumer side. One is on the enterprise side. So on the consumer side, we're making top-notch cell phones, very cool terminal devices, set-top box, for example. On the enterprise side, we actually provide a whole portfolio of a product, including cloud computing stuff, software, hardware, virtualization platform. We also provide a data center solution and storage servers, telepresence. And on the networking side, we actually provide the best networking gears in terms of routers or switches. We have a booth in Hall 13. If you'd like to go there to check it out, please feel free to do so. So for the big data, from the company perspective, big data is so important. It's so strategic. It's not a huge market today, but we believe it's so important to the company. So we actually invested a lot in this direction. We built global teams in the research area. We also built a team to do the solution. We provide the technical solution. We also provide the services as a part of our cloud services in general. So for the research, we actually recruited international talent from top and leading industry labs, and also those well-known researchers in the field from top academia institutes. And we have two locations, one in Silicon Valley, one in Hong Kong. And on the solution side, we're trying to build a tiered solution in the software side and also on the hardware side. So on the hardware side, we're very much focused on the scale-out architecture. On the software side, we're building are harnessing the Hadoop system. So we are among the top 10 employer committers into the community-supported Hadoop system. Also, we provide the consulting service to our customer and help them to build a big data project. And this is a cloud services we provided. Today is IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, and we're moving this big data in the cloud as well. So much for the introduction. Now I'm going to try to share some of our views. How do we see big data in enterprise? So first thing, what is big data? I believe a lot of colleagues from the world already know the answers. But to me, big data is just a technical terms, but it has big business impact. That's why people are attracted to big data, want to talk about it, discuss about it. So compared to the traditional data, big data actually have different attributes from the past. We have volume, velocity, variety, and veracity. Those are the V's. The big V's have been talked over and over for many times. And what is the more important V in the picture is the value. So people don't do this for fun, right? We're doing this for some value. We're trying, for business or for enterprises, we're doing this, we're trying to extract the business insight or some inside information about the business. And then we're trying to use this to support our decision making and try to make the business better and more competitive. So that's the goal. Okay, never forget about it. So big data is a technical problem, offers technical challenges, but the goal to do the big data is really to target the value. And also an important piece in the definition is this innovative processing. So we don't see, you're still using the traditional warehouse, data warehouse techniques to solve the big data problem. I personally don't think that is the big data. So big data actually includes some innovative, a new form of processing as part of the definition. So on the business side, we believe big data is more of the asset than the liability. But if you don't manage it well, it could easily become our liability. So on the positive side, we say big data has this much advantages. It can support your top line, enable all the functions to get your customer attachment, so improve your top line. And also on the bottom line, it also take care of your business, can help you to optimize your business. So you can have some advantages on the business operation side. But never forget, this big data could turn itself into a different type of animal if you don't manage it well, if you don't leverage the data well. Okay, just think of the data management for big data. It's a huge task. Storage, processing it is a huge task. And also think about when you have the data in there, the data leak or data privacy could really become a problem. So it really take care of the big data well, it becomes an asset. Otherwise, be careful, it could become our liability. And I think enterprise has the opportunity to become a data-driven enterprise. By that, I mean, today, all the enterprise, or pretty much everybody, depends on the data to run their business. But the data are static. Okay? It's not something you can drive the business. It's actually the result from the business. It stays there, right? It's not driving your business moving forward. But the real data-driven enterprise actually taking advantages. They're leveraging their data asset to get extra hand to help they run the business. Those data-driven enterprises, they actually establish their core competence from leveraging the big data. So today we're seeing some pioneers all across the industry, right? We can name a few: Amazon, Google, some credit card companies. They're depending on the data, their customer data. Right? Insurance companies is out there. They have been leveraging data pretty well. Of course, there's still a lot of room to grow, but the point is, a lot of other enterprises, actually the mainstream enterprises, they're not even, most of them are not doing big data, not even doing data analysis, not even mention big data. So that's a reality. So the problem I can think of are basically, in addition to lack of skills, lack of people, right? We are talking about data scientists here. So requires special skills for those people. In addition to that, basically the business leaders don't really understand big data, don't really understand what big data can do for them. And to really leverage the big data, we really need to involve business people in the cycle, in the loop. And those guys need technical people to give them support because the tools available today, they can't use it as free as they want. And it happens to be that to explore big data, you actually have to do a lot of surprising things and to be really open-minded and to try different weird things on the big data. And they're not able to do that right now. So those are there are also other factors affecting this. To build our enterprise, to build a data-driven enterprise, I believe there's 3 core components need to work together. The first one is certainly the technical side on the data layer. So we need people and we need technology to build a fundamentally solid data layer which can offer this timely and trustworthy and also the relevant data. So you manage the data well and you can get a lot more data incoming and you can provide the data to the app layer so people can use it. So that's a fundamental thing. Another fundamental thing is about information, about turning data into information. Because data is useless if it's not turned into information. The information is directly related to your business. So those are the jobs for business people, at least those people with business sense or know their business pretty well. The third thing is about business model. So those are the jobs of their business leader. So they actually have to turn their organization to be data-friendly, and they actually have to set up, align the organization and the people and the skill and the resources to make the enterprise toward our data-driven enterprise. So they actually need to actually make things happen. And those 3 factors, those 3 core components don't work independently. They actually have to reinforce each other to make a positive feedback to each other. So that can make the whole loop run better. So essentially, we're saying big data offers opportunity for the enterprise to lead the competition. So if you win the game in big data analysis, you probably win the competition. We're also seeing strong interest from small business as well. So that's kind of surprising. On the technical side, a lot of interesting things happening. I would say that big data is like leveraging big data is more or less like finding gold from sand. You actually have to process a large amount of sand before you can even get a little piece of gold. So we can define the term like value density, right? So for a certain amount of sand, you can get a certain amount of gold. And it applies to big data as well. And compared to traditional data, we normally manage through database or other data management mechanism, big data has a fundamental property, which is low value density. We see this 4 V's, right? And it also means value density. So traditionally, the data are clean, has high quality, and it's current, it's accurate. You can truly depend on this. But for the big data, when it gets into your database or your data management, you probably haven't modeled it yet. You just take the data in, and it could contain errors. It could, oftentimes they're kind of incomplete, and sometimes they're imprecise, and sometimes they have errors. So this is why big data offers a challenge to the technical people. That is, your investment on the system or whatever software, hardware, has to be lower than the value density curve. So you don't want to spend more money than the value you get. So that put a big challenge on the technical solution and made the current existing solution not quite cost effectively to fit into big data scenario. So that's why we need some change. Hadoop's ecosystem is the answer. And I believe this time around, the software community really got it right. We started off with very simple, very easy to understand concept, and we build the software, and it goes open source from day one. So more people can get on it and work on it to make it better. So now, customers, if you want to build a big data project, you have options: open source or commercially supported, all through the same community. So on the technical side, really, for big data management, the architecture side really has some mentality shift, or paradigm shift, if you call it, from the past. We so much get used to like proprietary hardware. We want to buy from big vendors, just put in there, although they are quite expensive. But today, we can't afford it for big data. We have to leverage the commodity hardware, just like Google or Amazon they're doing. Right? There seems to be the only way to make it happen. And we used to rely on central storage, NAS, also quite expensive. But now we actually prefer to use these innovative distributed file systems sitting on top of your commodity hardware. And we used to be, we want everything together in one box and try to make as power as possible. This is called a scale up. Now we probably don't want that particular box to be so powerful because it's costly, but we can have a lot of cheap boxes to chain them out together, to work as a cluster, to aggregatedly to provide higher performance. And we were trained from a school that we're doing serial computing. When we started programming, Computer Science 101, we were so used to be doing serial computing stuff. For now, we actually have to change our mind, change the mentality. So we have to think about the parallel, how to parallel your stuff. Because once you get your program or your processing logic paralleled well, it actually makes a difference from running from 10 hours, maybe running to 1 hour. So that started from your programming model. And we have seen a lot of it happening. I look forward to see a lot of things more to happen in the future. So basically, Hadoop and ecosystem, I believe, is just starting point. It just opened the door. And we'll see a lot of innovation on the technology, especially in the field areas, for example, usability. So people will be able to use or leverage their big data asset the way as they want it. So easy. So they can use computer, and then you can use their, leverage their database, leverage their big data. So that's the point of usability. And program model, we touched on a little bit earlier. It has to be also towarding the usability and make it so easy to use. Even a normal person can program for the database, for the big data. Innovative data management tools. Today we're talking about HDFS, which is kind of a weird name, a strange name. But in the future, we may see the management tools more like database. You can issue or SQL-like kind of language, so you can get the result without even worry about how this being implemented on the back end. And we'll see application-aware optimization, because there are tons of applications out there we haven't even touched yet. So when a particular application comes out, the performance or how to optimize it becomes the key. And we talk about innovative data analysis algorithm. Again, when a special application or special algorithm comes up, it makes huge difference. So we'll see a lot of research, a lot of things going on in the future. So I will say that big data has a path inside the enterprise. This is today's stage. I believe we are still in the pioneer stage. We are seeing someone make early success. They made the business better. We're seeing some businesses are trying to adopt that as a strategy. But before we can reach something really significant change, I believe we have relatively long time during the transition state. That is, we'll see more big data initiatives across different industries. They come up from here and there. But mainly, they are basically the testing waters from the enterprises. Okay? And they're trying to complement their current data management or trying to help their current business models. Okay. And we'll see some interesting things like you hire the data scientist to the co-work with the DBAs. So you will see the culture difference between these two work and how they're going to find the synergy and work together. So we'll see a lot of things, a lot of mixture things during this stage. And after that, I believe we'll see, we'll get into a stage that we clearly, everybody can tell from any industry that there are a group of enterprises actually leading the competition just because they are doing the data right. So at that time, either you're a leader on the top, really depends on your big data, or you're kind of falling behind. But other than that, even you're not in the first group as a winners, you're still doing something. You're still leveraging the big data in a certain way. So we'll see big data as quite pervasive across all the industries, and will be part of the enterprise IT. And further than that, I believe we'll get to the point that until this stage, we can assume that all the data are pretty much stayed inside one enterprise. They rarely go out. Okay. But at this stage, the smart sharing big data stage, I believe we'll eventually reach this point that enterprise can share data or information with other enterprise. So we all know that when the information or data, we combine different data and put them together, and we generate extra value. We probably get a lot of surprising values out of it. So people are talking about the linked data or web of data. I believe enterprise big data gonna go that point at a certain time in the future. But we're not talking about brute force data sharing. We have to be very careful because managing data, as we put earlier, has some risk come with it. So that's what I mean by smart sharing, that you have to try to avoid to reduce the risk while you can still reap the benefit of sharing big data. I believe we have a panel session in the afternoon talking about how to do big data sharing. I think there will be a lot of interesting things going to be talked about. But the point is, eventually we'll get to that point. Okay, now I have a couple minutes. I want to share with you the project we have done and we're doing. One of them is a bank data repository we built for a bank in China. The background for this project is basically, by regulation, there's a new regulation for banks to keep their digitalized record or their customer transaction record for 15 years. The current regulation is 12 months. And from banks' perspective, they also want this function because they want to differentiate themselves from other banks because they can provide to their customer to query the past transactions past this 12 months period of time, so which makes them different from other banks. And on the technical side, the data size currently is about 2 petabytes. And it will grow to like 9 petabytes, pretty significant number in a few years. And also consider the backup and the disaster recovery requirement. So the data size is pretty big. And people are trying to use the traditional data warehouse solution and apply on it. And measured by that, they look at the price tag is pretty high. And it's actually prohibitively high. So we built this system based on this commodity-supported Hadoop system, and we put in the security features. We actually build the backup features and everything and make it a solution. And so it works pretty well. So the data are collected, and people or administrators can actually query the data if they want, and it comes instantly. And we use our own solution, which is called Fusion Cloud HD Big Data Solution. We use more than 500 recommended servers, which are commodity servers. Each one comes with 10 to 20 terabytes of hard drive. And the user, actually the customer response was quite positive, and they like this because it has never been done before, right? Once after a year, they can't see what happened during that year, beyond that year. And interesting thing is we also open the door. So the bank, the guys from the bank, they say, oh, you can do this. Probably we can do that. We can do that also. So it actually promoted people to think more, to actually think more on the service side. So open the door for more of the service we can build. So along the way, we actually learned some of the challenges and the licenses. Basically, when the project come up, you want to make it business-driven with very, very clear, tangible goal. Everybody understand. So the goal in this project is very clear. Everybody understand, no ambiguity at all. And when you start doing this, you want to have a senior executives to sponsorship. That's probably your starting point. Going to the IT department is certainly critical, but the essential part is you get the senior guys to back up this project. And because of the vertical domains, especially for large enterprises, there are so many vertical domains, and each vertical has their data. But your job actually need to collect the data from different sources. So you need the top guys to back you up. Otherwise, it's not going anywhere. And we see this shortage, the impact of the shortage of the data scientists. And we see the collision between the DBAs and the Hadoop guys. Very interesting discussion has been going on for a while. And we see a lot of effort are actually spending on not the big data project itself, but rather on meeting the security requirement of the standard set up for banks. So never underestimate those tasks. Another quick project is, actually it's a product, it's called Smart Care. It's for network operators. So basically network operators facing challenges in the revenue, also in the network operations. And the idea is to actually put a lot of probes inside the network to collect data and then analyze the data. And then we would get all the insight about the traffic, about what phone you're using, about when you're using it, and what website you're visiting, about the cell congestion. And it's very interesting to notice that telecom industry has a very standard interface for data, and we're actually collecting the data is pretty straightforward compared to other industry. But this real-time capability, data processing capability, really enabled a lot of features. So people care about it, and those features actually open people's eyes, and also open doors for further improvement and for further services. Quite amazing. So I personally believe that big data could be one of the core strategies to revive telecom industry. Quick summary. So essentially, big data really offers the unique opportunity for enterprises, for them to be the data-driven and to really lead the competition. But the initiatives from a lot of enterprise are actually challenged by the flexibility of our business model. Are you going to embrace this data-driven model? And are challenged by this vertical domains, internal culture, whatever you call it. And also challenged by the shortage of talent. That's probably the common problem everybody are facing. And also the lack of big data knowledge in general. So those are the challenges, quite common challenges, right? Not so surprising. And to actually conquer those challenges, there's no silver bullet solution out there. But we can just take some best practice approach. For example, you really want to start from top as a top-down approach. Never underestimate how people are going to resist your project without the top guys supporting you. And you really want to start low. You don't set a pretty high goal. Take years to finish. Maybe take a couple weeks or even a couple weeks or a couple months to get it done, and really to see the result immediately. You're not going to deliver the result next year, so nobody's going to believe you. And And on the technology side, essentially what I'm saying is it's going to continue to be fast developed. And we'll see that eventually the enterprise IT architecture going to be enhanced actually to embrace the big data and probably support the web of data at that time. Okay, that wraps up my presentation. For people, I would like to get any feedback. This is my email. Please feel free to send me any email to discuss furthermore. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Derek.
So we have a couple more minutes, or
do you want to take any questions? We've got about 2 minutes.
Okay. Any questions so far, or
anyone?
No.
No? You got one?
Pretty
Was
safe.
there one? Right here.
In the first case study with the bank, you said that the information should be kept at least 15 years. In that project, did you take care about data preservation? It means if I can imagine 15 years ago, how was the access to the data? In 15 years ahead, maybe could be a problem. Did you take care about this in this project?
okay, I don't quite get the question.
Did you data preservation?
Data preservation. To be able to access the data in 20 years, the technology in 20 years will change a lot, completely maybe. And then I imagine 15 years or 20 years ago how it was the access to the information. In 20 years ahead,
what's your question?
maybe it could be a problem. If they take care of this issue in this project.
Oh, are you considering what it will be like in 15 years to, what the technology will be like in 15 years?
Is a question regarding, is it worthwhile to do this?
Yeah, is it worthwhile doing that? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think first of all is because the regulation. So the government issued a regulation, really want to keep this record. I don't really know the background behind this, but this is a regulation require them to do so. So first thing. Secondly, actually the banks, especially those banks in China, their business model as a broker in the middle, they actually been challenged by some online service providers. So they want to make changes. So they think big data is the way to go. So they really want to keep all the data possible, and they have the resource to do so. Actually, everybody involved in this, they really think it's worthwhile to do this. Because even today, you don't know what data you're going to use, what value you're going to generate it, but maybe tomorrow you're going to use that. So you need the data. So keeping the data available in a cheap way is everybody's agreement.
Okay. Derek, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, all things digital means more than your smartphone and your laptop. It also means